Hello, I'm Karen Hall, editor for Cygnus Graphics Media, and I'm talking today with Andy Paparozzi, who is Vice President and Chief Economist of NAPL. Andy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Very welcome, Karen. Thank you for having me.
Are you seeing any signs of sustainable sales growth in the industry?
Not sustainable sales growth, Karen. In fact, our industry is not growing yet. We at NAPL estimate that our sales fell 0.9% last quarter after growing fractionally the previous 2 quarters. What we are seeing is evidence that our healing from our worst recession on record is continuing. Now, the healing is, I would describe it as painfully slow and maddeningly inconsistent, and we're still saddled with this aura of uncertainty, unlike anything I've seen in my 27 years in the industry, an uncertainty about what to expect next. And we're hearing this from companies of every size in every segment of our industry. Business is up, and then it's down, it's up, and then it's down. And to quote one CEO who speaks for many, he told me, "Andy, I don't know what to expect next month, never mind next year. Nothing seems to make sense anymore." Now, what we do need to understand is that while we're nowhere near where we want to be, we are clearly better off than where we were. It's easy to forget that a little over 2 years ago, we were in a free fall. Our sales were falling 15, 16, 17% per quarter. So we've made a lot of progress since then. More companies are reporting growth, and I guess the lesson in all of this for companies that are still not seeing at least a stabilization in their key metrics, if not some modest improvement, but at least a stabilization. For those companies, it's time to begin asking why, and asking if we're in danger of being left behind by a recovery that is going to leave many behind.
Well, that's sad news, but very timely. What do you think separates the top performers from the also-rans?
There are a number of things the top performers clearly do that the industry at large doesn't. And before I talk about them, I want to clarify how NAPL defines a leader. We don't define a leader as a company that is in the top 20% of something for a year or so. We don't define a leader as a company that excels at maintaining the status quo, as my colleague Howie Fenton puts it. A company that is a leader only as long as nothing much is changing. We define leaders as companies that are able to make change, no matter how disruptive an opportunity rather than a threat. Now, it takes them a while to do it. Their numbers aren't pretty while they're doing it. They certainly wouldn't be in anyone's top 20% while they're doing it, but eventually they are able to turn change to their advantage by making the tough decisions that others either put off or avoid entirely. That's how we define leaders. Now, here's what defines those companies. First, they excel at environmental analysis. They consistently maintain a broad database of key business indicators, both internal and external business indicators. They monitor those indicators very carefully, and they react aggressively to what those indicators are telling them. So they're rarely taken by surprise. They then are able to translate what they learn from those key indicators into a meaningful vision and plan. So they're more than just learning organizations. They're organizations that do something with what they learn. They take what their vital metrics are telling them, and they put it together in a compelling vision, a compelling plan, which they then, in their third characteristic, communicate effectively, both internally and externally. So they control the message internally and externally. They execute, of course, because planning without execution doesn't get you very far. And then what I simply call, they learn from it all. They benchmark. They will challenge their success. They will compare plan versus reality. We thought we were going to do this. This happened. Why? And they excel in a couple of other areas. That's really what separates them. But there are two other things that, without exception, help them maintain their leadership. And one is something my CEO, Joe Truncal, talks about quite a bit. It's courage and flexibility. It's a courage and flexibility to do what you know needs to be done. And what I've found in the industry, Karen, is that over the years, more and more companies have become receptive to the idea that, you know what, this really is a new industry. And the old ways of doing business aren't enough anymore. We need new mindsets, new models, new approaches. More and more companies have become receptive to that idea. They accept it now. And they say, okay, I now accept that I've got to go over there. But then they look and they say, getting over there is going to be disruptive and it's going to take time and a lot of my people aren't going to like it, so I guess we're not going to go. What leaders do is say, I know I have to go over there and it's going to be disruptive and it's going to be hard and my people aren't going to like it, but we're going anyway. We'll do everything we can to bring you along, but we have to go over there. The flexibility and courage to do what they know needs to be done is among the defining characteristics of these companies. So it's quite a bit that really distinguishes them from the industry at large.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. Where do you see printers looking for sales growth these days?
There are several areas. In fact, we just recently asked our State of the Industry group, which is 615 companies of all sizes from across our industry, and we asked them just that question. What do you expect to grow fastest in the next 3 years? And they had no problem answering. Variable content digital printing was their top answer by far. Web to print they talked about, one-to-one cross-media marketing services, wide format. They talked about mailing, they talked about fulfillment. So there are definitely areas they see as potential growth areas, potential profit areas. My problem is this. You asked where they see growth. That's where they see growth. Where are they going to realize growth? Where are they actually going to capitalize on those opportunities? And here's where some of them have a problem, because what too many do is simply add services and add capacity. They don't integrate the capacity into a compelling value proposition that makes their clients more successful for doing business with them. We say at NAPL, as you think about where you want to take your business, and there are many, many opportunities. I just did a presentation subtitled, it was titled The State of the Industry, subtitled Plenty of Opportunity, just not in the same old places or by doing the same old thing. Now, as you see these opportunities and you want to take your company in different directions, just remember, add is bad. You have to think of integration and how you're going to put this all together, complementing print, complementing core lithography, not print or print and, integrating it all into a compelling value proposition that's going to make you more valuable to your clients, make your clients more successful by helping them communicate more effectively with their clients. So that's where they're seeing growth, and the folks who are approaching it as integrate rather than add are growing both their lithographic businesses and their support businesses. So it's an encouraging story from that perspective.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm going to ask you this, and I think I already know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Which do you think is more important? Technical expertise or business skills?
Asked that quite a bit. And my answer is that they are not mutually exclusive. We need them both. The difference is this. Technical skills are not enough anymore. Clearly not enough. And think of what's happening. Our industry is being redefined. NAPL, all the time, we talk about how our industry is not simply changing. It is being redefined. It is becoming something fundamentally different than it was, something bigger, something more complex, more competitive. And that's creating historic opportunity for the prepared and profound threats for the unprepared. And I don't care how successful those unprepared have been in the past. It's a new industry. And this new industry requires new skills. We now have to build a labor force that is flexible and adaptable and capable in financial management, business planning, strategic management, information technology. You walk into some leading companies and you think you're walking into an IT company. Consultative selling, marketing, all kinds of skills that at one time would have been nice to have in our industry, but are now absolutely essential. And one of the other points we make in our reports and seminars is that because our industry is being redefined, because the kinds of skills we need are being redefined, simply rebuilding the labor force we had prior to the recession isn't going to be enough. In the past, that's all we had to do. As business picked up, recovery progressed, we rebuilt the same kind of labor force we had prior to the recession. Not anymore. We have to build a new labor force for our new industry. So to answer your simple question, simple answer to your simple question, the technology is critical. We absolutely have to have it, but it is clearly not enough anymore. We really do have to be building a new labor force. And the only other point I'd add, and we have to remember, and the leaders know this, the leaders are up to it, when we talk about the need for IT skills, business planning skills, marketing skills, database management skills, we're talking about people who can work anywhere. They don't have to work in our industry. So we've got to be prepared. We're not just competing with each other now for these skills. We're competing economy-wide. And so we have to make the case for our industry, that this is an innovative, creative, dynamic industry with a great future, because that's how we're going to get the kind of people we need to realize our industry's potential.
Outstanding. Very
Great.
enlightening, Andy. Thank you
You're very welcome.
so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.